A high-ranking American soldier got killed in what is said to be an insider attack among security forces in Afghanistan's capital Kabul this week. Kabul also witnessed two back-to-back coordinated attacks which killed and injured dozens of people who were attending a sports event. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major Timothy Bolliard, who was aged just 42, succumbed to his bullet injuries inflicted on him by an Afghanistan police officer who opened fire at a military base in capital Kabul. Another soldier was also hit during the attack, which occurred while a meeting was taking place between a local community and tribal leaders on the base. About 557 Afghan security forces and 157 NATO personnel, including American service members, have been killed in 102 documented insider attacks since 2007, according to a study published last year by the Modern War Institute at West Coast.
Yeah, he was on the ground there 17 years ago, Jim. Scott Miller's a good special operator. He was one of the initial forces that went in. I think he was a major at the time, perhaps, maybe a lieutenant colonel. But you talk about a long war, you're seeing the evolution of rank structure, and the folks who were young men fighting this war when it first began to eliminate al-Qaeda from that particular country, is supported by the Taliban, is now back as the four-star general in charge. I think he's the 15th four-star in charge of the operation there, the NATO command and the U.S. command and that forces.
About a quarter of the 102 attacks were deliberately carried out by the Taliban using infiltration, influence or impersonation, according to the report, while 14% were the result of the Taliban co-opting an Afghan soldier. In other words, the reports say the insider attacks have increasingly become preferred war-fighting tactics of the Taliban.
This is duplicitous on the part of the Taliban. They, in fact, waited for the movement of U.S. and Afghan forces out of Ghazni province before they attempted their attacks there and tried to ambush many of the Afghan and U.S. forces, taking over a province that had been deserted because the forces had gone other places to fight ISIS-K, the Khorasan group, and as well as the Haqqani network.
In another attack on September 5th, over 20 people were killed and 70 others wounded in a twin bombing at a sports club in the Afghan capital. The twin attack started when a suicide bomber triggered the bomb at a wrestling club in the Shiite populated area. The second blast came minutes after, when the bomb placed inside a car detonated, which affected journalists and emergency service members. Kabul police spokesperson Hashmat Stankidzai said the second explosion hit as police were helping the victims.
The Taliban are not to be trusted, but certainly they should be attempted to be brought in to determine the way ahead for Afghanistan if they are going to play a role. But truthfully, they think they have the upper hand. They may have a great deal of momentum on their side from that attack in the middle of August. But truthfully, you have to be wary both on the part of the Afghan government and the U.S. forces there, pulling them completely into the tent.
Many journalists who came to cover the story were also injured in the blast, while a reporter and the cameraman from Afghanistan's largest broadcaster Tolo News were killed. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani also condemned the attack. This turns out to be the latest in the spate of deadly attacks in the Afghan capital. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack in the Dasht-e-Barchi, which is the home to many members of the mainly Shiite Muslim Hazara ethnic minority, which has been targeted in the past by Sunni militants of Islamic State. Islamic State, especially the faction which fled Pakistan and joined the ranks of the IS, has established a brutal reputation, later claimed responsibility for the bombing. This attack comes just a month after another blast which killed 34 students preparing for a university entrance exam in the area.
مهاجم در اینجا داخل میشه، یک کسی که اینجا میخواست تلاشی بکنه و وظیفه‌ش همی بود کت مرمی او زد. من دقیق اونجا ایستاد بودم، در پشت پنجره ایستاد بودم. من دیدم صدای تفنگچی آمد، سعی کردم که چی گپ شد. انتحاری خود از دروازه ورودی داخل کردی، دروازه اضطراری بودک. او دروازه دیگه ورودی بوده که داخل شون باز دور بخورن، اونجا دیگه دروازه است که داخل کلاب شون، بچه‌ها لباسای خود تبدیل بکنن و ورزش بکنن. اونجا که میبینه بند است باز انتحاری کننده اینجا میاد خود در این دروازه میچسبونه، خود انتحار میکنه.
Pakistan's role in the worsening situation in Afghanistan is something which cannot be ignored. Be it the Taliban, Islamic State, Haqqani Network or the Lashkar-e-Taiba, these dreaded terrorists have sanctuaries near the Durand line inside Pakistani territory. Forget about action against the Taliban, Islamic State and the Haqqani Network. Pakistan continues to shelter them and working on a plan to weaken the Western-backed government in the country. A reason that is pushing security situation in the country from bad to worse with each passing day.